How long will 500,000 really last in retirement? You finally reach retirement with 500,000 saved. It sounds like a lot of money. $500,000. But then comes the question that keeps millions of retirees awake at night. How long will $500,000 actually last? 10 years? 20 years? Could it last the rest of your life? The answer might surprise you, because two retirees can start with exactly the same 500,000, and one could run out of money years before the other. Today, we're going to look at what could happen to $500,000 in retirement, what can make it disappear faster, and several ways you may be able to make it last much longer. And stay with me, because later we'll compare what happens if you need $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or even $5,000 per month from that 500,000. Let's start with the simplest calculation. The basic 500,000 math. Imagine you retire with exactly $500,000. For the moment, let's pretend your money earns absolutely nothing. No investment returns, no interest. And we'll also ignore inflation. If you withdrew $2,000 every month, that's $24,000 per year. Divide $500,000 by $24,000, and mathematically, the money could last a little more than 20 years. Now increase your withdrawal to $3,000 per month. That's $36,000 per year. At that rate, $500,000 would last just under 14 years. At $4,000 per month, you're withdrawing $48,000 per year. Now you're down to a little more than 10 years. And at $5,000 per month, or $60,000 per year, your $500,000 would last only a little over 8 years. That's a massive difference. The same $500,000. 4 completely different outcomes. But retirement isn't that simple. Your savings may remain invested. Prices can rise. Taxes matter. Social Security may cover part of your expenses. And unexpected costs can change everything. So let's make this much more realistic. Social Security changes the equation. One of the biggest mistakes people make when thinking about retirement is looking only at the size of their investment account. Your retirement income may come from several places: Social Security, a pension, investment income, rental income, part-time work, and withdrawals from retirement accounts. Suppose your household needs $5,000 per month to live comfortably. At first, you might think $500,000 will never be enough. But what if Social Security provides $3,000 of that $5,000? Now your investments only need to provide the remaining $2,000 per month. That's $24,000 per year instead of $60,000. Suddenly, the picture looks completely different. That's why asking, "Can I retire with $500,000?" isn't really the right question. A better question is, how large is the gap between my guaranteed income and my actual spending? That gap can determine how hard your savings have to work. The 4% rule. You've probably heard of something called the 4% rule. The basic concept is that a retiree begins by withdrawing approximately 4% of a retirement portfolio during the first year, then adjusts future withdrawals for inflation. 4% of $500,000 is $20,000 per year. That's approximately $1,667 per month. Now imagine you're receiving $3,000 per month from Social Security. Add approximately $1,667 from your portfolio. That's roughly $4,667 per month before taxes. For some retirees, that could provide a comfortable lifestyle. For others, it wouldn't come close. And here's something extremely important. The 4% rule is a planning guideline, not a guarantee. Your age matters. Your investment mix matters. Market performance matters. Inflation matters. Taxes matter. Your spending matters. And how long you live certainly matters. Someone retiring at 55 may need their money to last much longer than someone retiring at 70. So don't think of 4% as a magic number. Think of it as a starting point for understanding the relationship between your savings and your withdrawals. Where you live can change everything. Now we get to one of the most underestimated retirement decisions: where you live. Imagine two couples. Both retire with $500,000. Both receive similar Social Security benefits. But couple A lives in an expensive area with high housing costs, expensive insurance, large property taxes, and high everyday expenses. Couple B lives in a lower-cost area with an affordable home and significantly lower monthly expenses. They have the same amount of retirement savings, but they don't have the same retirement. Housing is often one of the largest expenses in retirement. If you're paying $3,000 every month for housing, that's $36,000 per year before groceries, transportation, healthcare, entertainment, or travel. If another retiree has a paid-off home and spends considerably less on housing, that person's $500,000 may have a completely different lifespan. This is why downsizing can be such a powerful retirement decision. You're not simply moving into a smaller home. You may also reduce property taxes, insurance, utilities, maintenance, landscaping, and repairs. Sometimes the best way to make your retirement savings last longer isn't finding a better investment. It's lowering the amount of money you need every month. Inflation is the silent threat. Here's something that can make a retirement plan look much better on paper than it feels in real life. Inflation. Imagine you're comfortable living on $4,000 per month today. If prices increase over time, that same lifestyle could cost substantially more 10 or 20 years from now. Your groceries cost more. Insurance costs more. Restaurants cost more. Home repairs cost more. Travel costs more. And healthcare may cost more. This is one reason keeping every dollar of long-term retirement savings sitting in cash can create its own risk. Cash may feel safe because the balance doesn't move up and down like the stock market. But if the purchasing power of that cash declines over time, your money is losing something you don't see when you look at the account balance. Retirement planning isn't simply about protecting dollars. It's about protecting what those dollars can buy. Healthcare can change the plan. You could create an almost perfect retirement budget. And then life happens. Dental work, hearing aids, prescription expenses, long-term care, home modifications, unexpected medical bills, or helping a spouse through a health problem. Healthcare can become a significant retirement expense, especially as you get older. That's why spending every available dollar simply because your retirement budget says you may leave you vulnerable. A financial cushion matters. If your normal lifestyle requires every dollar of your available retirement income, there's very little room when something unexpected happens. Retirement isn't just about funding your normal months. You also need to prepare for the abnormal ones. Market returns matter, but so does timing. Now let's talk about investing. If your $500,000 remains invested and earns positive returns over many years, it could potentially last significantly longer than our simple calculation at the beginning. But returns don't arrive in a straight line. The market might have a great year, then a bad year, then another great year. And withdrawing money during major market declines can be particularly challenging because you're selling investments when their value may already be down. This is sometimes called sequence of returns risk. Two retirees could earn similar average investment returns over a long period, but experience those returns in a different order and potentially end up with very different results. That's why retirement investing isn't simply about asking, what return can I earn? You also need to think about how much you're withdrawing, when you're withdrawing it, how much risk you're taking, and how much flexibility you have during bad markets. The $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000 test. Now let's bring everything together. Again, these numbers are deliberately simplified. We're ignoring investment growth, inflation, taxes, and other income for a moment, so you can see just how powerful spending is. Start with $500,000. If your portfolio needs to provide $2,000 per month, That's $24,000 per year. Simple division gives you approximately 20.8 years. At $3,000 per month, that's $36,000 per year, approximately 13.9 years. At $4,000 per month, that's $48,000 per year, approximately 10.4 years. And at $5,000 per month, that's $60,000 per year, approximately 8.3 years. Those aren't predictions, they're illustrations, because your actual retirement will include investment performance, Social Security, inflation, taxes, and changing expenses. But they demonstrate something incredibly important. Your spending rate can matter just as much as the amount you've saved. How to make $500,000 last longer. So what can you actually do? First, know your real monthly expenses before retiring. Not what you think you spend, what you actually spend. Second, understand exactly how much guaranteed income you'll receive. Social Security, pensions, annuities, if applicable, or other reliable income. Third, calculate the gap. If your lifestyle costs $5,000 per month and guaranteed income provides $3,500, your investments need to produce $1,500. That's very different from needing the entire $5,000. Fourth, keep housing costs under control. A beautiful retirement home isn't much fun if you're constantly worried about paying for it. Fifth, be careful about taking on new debt. Large car payments, credit card balances, and expensive financing can consume retirement income very quickly. Sixth, maintain an emergency reserve. You don't want every unexpected expense forcing you to sell investments. And finally, stay flexible. Maybe you spend more during your first few healthy retirement years because you're traveling. Maybe you spend less during a difficult market year. Maybe you downsize later. Maybe you work part-time doing something you enjoy. A retirement plan doesn't have to remain exactly the same for 30 years. Your ability to adjust may be one of your greatest financial advantages. So, is $500,000 enough to retire? Here's the answer. For some people, absolutely. For others, not even close. A retiree with $500,000, a paid-off home, strong Social Security benefits, and modest expenses could potentially be in a much stronger position than someone with $1 million and an extremely expensive lifestyle. The number in your investment account matters, but the relationship between your income, spending, housing, debt, and savings matters even more. So instead of asking only, how much money do I need to retire? Start asking, how much will my retirement lifestyle actually cost? Because once you know that number, you can begin determining how much retirement savings you truly need. And remember, retirement isn't about spending as little as possible. You've worked decades to get here. Travel. Enjoy yourself. Spend time with the people you love. Create memories. But build a lifestyle that gives you both enjoyment today and financial security tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to Life and Amp Money After 50. We explore retirement, money, real estate, the best places to retire, and how to make smarter decisions for the next chapter of your life. Plan smart. Live well. Enjoy the next chapter.